So in this video, I want to clarify something. When I go over these childhood memories, some of them, there's nothing that can be done about them. They can't be recorded anymore. Like when I froze up on the beach and my mother came back to get me. That's a lesser problem. An overdose at age 7 that caused a permanent disorder, that one has to be reported to the doctor. It has to be, that's when it started. We have to get a medication list as well. And we also have to basically throw out all my mother's fantasies, what's almost impossible. So, all this stuff going on, the reason why I'm bringing it up, the reason why I go through it is I lose the ability to speak and I might even die soon. And there are people out there, like my biological mother, or maybe some people in my adopted family, or my biological brothers, or maybe some attorneys, or maybe the federal government. But there are a lot of people who might want to know the truth of what's going on. So having a record out there is very good. But some of it doesn't bother me, like my mother being very neglectful or having a group of people around me while I freeze up. It's not their fault. Honestly, that's a lesser one. How would they know? My mother is the one that's responsible in that situation. She heard her son say he can't walk. He's having problems with cold. And she also was there during the doctor's appointments. She was there during the overdose. She was there at the more doctor's appointments. She was the one who wanted ballet for the coordination issue. She's the one who talked to the schools when I needed to do physical therapy and speech therapy at the schools. So my mother was very aware what was going on, but she still continued to avoid responsibility. And now I understand why. Now I understand why she went so crazy and opposite to what she should have been doing. Like extra Epicac, why would you pour a whole bottle of Epicac into a Dixie cup and force your kid to drink it and then brag about it forever? Why would you do something like that? Why would you improperly administer medications, maybe mix in medications, give your child an overdose? He's obviously ODing on a pile of newspapers, even if it is an allergy attack from a combination of medications, like my mother said it was. My mother said it was just allergies from a combination of medications she gave me, my regular medication, so it's the doctor's fault, she said. Now, eventually, she stopped calling it an allergy attack to medications. She forgot what the medication list was and then just told me to shut up about it. I wasn't allowed to speak about it in front of the doctor by the age of 13, 14. But yes, this really happened. My father was there. He heard a lot of this. My mother was there. She heard a lot of this. There's plenty of times it was very visible. My mother should have had enough to get me help. But instead, she had totally avoided help. She totally refused to call an ambulance. She totally didn't want to get me proper. She wanted ballet and tap dancing as a treatment for, oh my God, an overdose? Because she was there. She knew what was going on. She's the one who administered the pills. The statements out of her mouth when I brought this up at the doctor was that she thought it was an allergy attack to the medications I was prescribed that she gave me right before we were about to watch Mr. Freeze. That's what was put down on paper at the doctor's office. So if you're looking for this in my file, it would be under mystery allergy, because the second time I brought this up, my mother called it a mystery allergy. She ended up saying she didn't remember what medications I was on. The third time I brought this up, she said it was an allergy attack and I should be quiet about it. I can't remember how many times I brought it up, but that's the way it went every time until I was just told to shut up about it and don't speak about that anymore. No, I have to speak about this. It's still hurting me today. Now I know why my mother wanted to move to Texas and move me around so much. Now I know why my mother did the things she did. Now I know why she lied so much about making up mental illnesses. Now I know why she did that. But I didn't even know I was on Social Security until I was 19. I had no idea until it was over. My father was collecting the check, keeping it to himself, while I lived in a program, working a job, paying little bits here and there to the program, and they had me on a separate work program. Meanwhile, they were supposed to be teaching me how to work with Social Security. But my father and mother had me so twisted up, so brainwashed, so fucked up that no matter which way I went, I was screwed. Doesn't matter if I went the way of working in college, no way. I'm missing 4 to 5 years of education. No way I'm going to college. Okay, how about a blue collar job or just a regular job? That's fine, but then I'll get injured and my pre existing condition and my disabilities are going to get in the way, but they're not properly documented, so nobody's going to understand them. So I'm just going to be fucked by the doctors and by work. So that's not going to work. Well, how about Social Security and doing that first? How about going to the doctors and getting my disabilities established properly? That's what I've been doing, but it doesn't work because my mother and father lied through their teeth so much, it's almost impossible to get proper medical care. Because the disabilities that are really hurting me are physical, not mental. So I can't get any help from a mental doctor with epilepsy or shakes or numbness in the hands or the fact that cold makes it so my nervous system doesn't work. These type of problems have to be with a neurologist, a primary care, really good specialist with the physical part. But that's impossible with my mother's fantasies spun around her finger. I mean, this started 25 years ago, but there's almost no documentation, and all the documentation that should be there, like coordination issues, is covered up by ballet and bullshit. So there's no way I'm going to be able to get the help I need. So I'm keeping records of every single thing that has to do with this neurological disorder, everything to do with the brainwashing, the PTSD, the anxiety, the New Mexico, the overdose, anything that is seriously giving me flashbacks where I can remember them clearly. Like I can literally put myself through these things again to describe them. That's how severe and how bad these memories are. And they call this PTSD. Sometimes they come when you don't want to. You'll be at work and you'll get a flashback of somebody holding you down, injecting you with drugs, all because your roommate is laughing in the corner, making up stories. Or your mother wants you on medication, so she gives you a bunch of them and gets them established, makes up a bunch of mental illnesses. You go to play with the match outside and burn a slug because you think they're fireproof and you can make a fireproof jacket someday. A fireproof fire extinguisher might be better with that type of slime, but either way, you can't be playing with matches at that age. That's important to understand. But did I have a conversation like that with my parents? No, my mother turned it into I must be some animal abuser. So she sent me to the hospital. And once again, I was injected with drugs. I was given drugs. And on top of that, my roommate made up a story and I was given double doses. That's actually the one time. There was only 2 times in my whole entire life I was held down and given the same medication twice. Once at age 4 in St. Anne's Orphanage because some kid put ketchup in my orange juice, got up off the kitchen table and did that. The second time was in Lowell Treatment Center. Now I was there because I ended up burning a slug. That's it. I thought it was fireproof. I thought it would be fine. And as far as I'm concerned, it was. I don't know. Probably just curled up in a ball. I really don't know. My father says he flicked it away and it was dead, but I really don't know because I told him right away and we didn't wait to find out. Anyways, what happened? What was my punishment for this? 30 days in a mental institution, up to all my pills, going off some pills, adding pills, this pill, that pill, all these crazy pills. My mother's on the phone trying to tell these doctors what drugs to drug me with. Meanwhile, my roommate decides to make up a fun little story about a candy cane, and then I'm held down and given double doses. It's not the first time I was given double doses. There's also another time that they end up doing this. And the candy cane isn't even on Christmas. This isn't even exactly Christmas or anything. This is the funny part. They give these kids candy canes because they're donated. they come out so early, like Halloween sometimes. So I can't even go by what time of year